So let's take a little look at the SDLXLIFF Anonymizer application. To do that, I've got a file here, and if I open this up, just so I can show you now, open it up in a text editor. I've created a little expression down here looking for the created by and modified by information, and you can see that when I find it, it has after each one my username. And if I work my way through the document, everywhere it comes across it, it has my username. So this application will allow you to change your username throughout all of the files you're working on in your project if you forgot to use a more anonymous username for your work. So I'll show you how it works. If I just use Ctrl-Shift-O just to use translate single document rather than the drop folder, here's my file. You can see it's been translated, pretty much all translated, it's partially complete, but I've been working on this file. If I go over to the files view, if I have installed the SDLXLIFF Anonymizer plugin, I'll have this little icon at the top here. I click on that, the box opens up, and I've got the different options that allow me to change things within the selected file. If I had a project full of multiple files, then I can change them all in one go, which is quite a nice thing about the application. For the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to leave the translation origin and the origin system. I'm going to leave the created on and the modified on, and the only things I'm going to change are who actually created the TUs, so who translated them and who edited or modified them. And in this case, with this particular file, they're all going to be stamped with my username, and this is what I want to anonymize. I can change it. You can see that the box is grayed out, so if I change it to anonymize, which is what I've got set as default, it gives you a default translator, but you can change this to whatever you like. So I'm going to put XXX. You can save your settings, and these settings will then be reused the next time you use the application. And then you just click on go. A message will come up, it'll tell you the documents have been anonymized and tells you where the backup of the original SDLXLIFF can be found. So just in case you suddenly realize you've made a mistake, you can get back to it. If I go to the original folder now, you can see I've got my docx there, but the time has changed on this. The original is inside this backup folder here. So what I'm going to do now is open up this one, which is the anonymized file, in a text editor. And you can see that if I go through the searches, created by XXX, modified by XXX, and it's gone through the entire file like that, changing all of the settings that I'd actually used so that the file is actually anonymized. Don't forget, as I said in the blog article, this is only going to affect the created by and the modified by dates. If you've been adding comments, or if you've been using TQA, or if you've been using track changes, none of these will be impacted by this application. It cannot, or it doesn't have the capability to change any of these details. What it also won't change is the SDLXLIFF will contain a reference, if you created the project, to where the file was, and you can see that in this case my username is in there as well. So if you don't want any of these things to appear, the best thing to do is to first of all make sure in Studio that you change your username for updates, which you'll find in, if I work through it, you go File Options, Language Pairs, All Language Pairs, Batch Processing, and then Translation Memory Updates, and there you'll find the TM User ID. This is not just for batch processing. If you click on that, you can change this here, and when you change it, the created by and modified by names will be changed to whatever you wrote here. This will not affect the file name, locations, TQA, or track changes, or comments, as I already mentioned. If you want to change those, you really need to change your username here. So all the way back where you have your username here, against users, this is what you need to rename. So this might be a tricky thing for you to do now, and you probably won't want to do that, but if you're setting up a new computer or taking on a new instance of something, it's a good idea to think about the username you use and use something that is less meaningful, so somebody cannot identify you from the name alone, only you. And that's it. So pretty simple application. Have fun.